Okay, good evening, everybody. We're going to get going with tonight's public forum. My name is Chris Pia. This is the town of Stratford. Public forum scheduled for September 12th, 2022. It is 6 p.m. And I have Council Clerk, Ms. Paquette, picking up the sheet.
Thank you.
Make sure you spell your name right because they don't know who you are.
I know where you live. Okay. It's good enough. Thank you. Thank you for waiting patiently.
Okay, if I can ask everyone to quiet down. If I could ask everybody to quiet down, please. Chris? All right. First person signed up for tonight is Marka Lee. If you could just state your name and your address for the record, ma'am, and everybody here. And just remember, we go for 3 minutes. Thank you.
I know. Hello, I'm Marka Lee, 1661 Elm Street, Stratford, Connecticut. I'm basically here for two reasons, but I'm probably not going to get to both of them. I want to say thank you to the Inland Wetlands Commission for denying the development on Holly Lane. Woo. And to Kelly Kerrigan for answering our endless questions about the property. But moving forward, we know we have to find ways for affordable housing, and I think instead of constantly chasing off developers who want to chop down trees and bulldoze woods and pave green space, I would love to see a real plan for preserving nature and open space. I know there's a plan, Stratford. I plan on attending. But this is a related but separate issue where I would love that to be done with residents involved in all the steps. I have a link that I would love to send to you all. I'll have to figure out how to do that, about how city parks have scientifically been proven as a tool in fighting climate change, if we can remember our horrible drought that we just had and the heat wave. What it comes down to is every time we randomly cut down a tree for housing, power lines, people don't want to rake, we're removing a piece of the puzzle that is actually fighting climate change. And it's like death of a thousand cuts, right? One tree doesn't seem to matter, but it adds up. The following heat wave and drought we had this summer is our climate, it's going off the rails. And why would we remove the things we already possess, like trees and plants, that are actively combating it? So I would love to see a plan for housing that does not interfere with our wooded spaces, even tiny little groups of trees. It makes zero sense. So I would also love to see the term affordable housing redefined, but that's its own thing. A separate issue is I would love for something to be done about the speeding problem in Stratford. It's insane. I know Elm Street is an alternative to Main, and there's not as many stoplights. But I'm constantly picking up carcasses of animals off the street, and one of those days, it could be a human being. People are flying down at night at 80 miles an hour. That's not hyperbole. People are flying. And I realize it's a waste of police time or whatever, or speed bumps are maybe not, and all. It's been negatively responded to with speed bumps. So what about traffic cams that take pictures of people who are breaking the law? Because it's dangerous. It's not just like, I'm not talking about 5-10 miles over the speed limit. I'm talking about insane speeds. And I just hope that we can actually make that a topic of something that we're gonna do, because it's on a lot of streets. I know on my street it happens all the time. I can't even sit on my porch sometimes because cars fly by, and it makes me nervous. That's pretty much it. Those are the two topics. Thank you. Look at that, right under time. All right, thank you.
Next person signed up is Joe Gresco. Excuse me, State Rep Gresco.
Joe Gresco, 284 Mary. Thank you all for attending, and I want to say my congratulations to our high school stewards from both Stratford High and Bunnell, and for the work they did at the Great Meadows Salt Marsh. We recently had a celebratory event there. marking the completion of the project, which will restore the tidal marsh to what it was supposed to function as, ebb and flow, hopefully a reduction of mosquitoes, hopefully a reduction in Phragmites, but hopefully this inspired some of the individuals who were paid to do this work over the course of the summer and plant all those grass plugs. It was nice to get your hands dirty with them. Also, the individuals from the zoo were instrumental in doing that as well. They should have been invited to the event, but that's another story. But hopefully it inspires these young people to consider a career in the environment as we go forward. As you heard from our last speaker, we have a lot to work on as far as the environment goes. But more importantly, as we craft our conservation and development plan here in Stratford, I'm hoping we can view that through an environmental lens and keep what we have preserved and potentially even invest in additional open space purchases. We all know Stratford's pretty much a developed municipality, but we should try to salvage and keep whole what we have as far as open space, and maybe even build on that. So again, thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Joe. Last person signed up is Linda Palermo.
Sorry, I'm an old gal, and I got my leg isn't healing right. But anyhow, good evening. I'm glad I'm able to speak this evening. However, that which I am about to say may be very earth-shattering to the citizens of this town and to the council. I have to file...
Linda, just state your name and address for the record, please.
Pardon?
Name and address for the record, please. Name and address for the record.
Name, mine,
Yes.
Linda Palermo. Want anything else? 46 Watt Place, Stratford, Connecticut, 06614. I had a very sad experience happen I say about 3 weeks ago. It's been brewing, but it just absolutely came to a head. An assistant town attorney asked a person who worked for him only part-time, but also lives on my street. She signed a document. I happened to call up to speak to the attorney, and she says, "Am I going to be in trouble?" I said, "For what?" She said, "I signed your name to that document." I said, "It's felony, that's what it is, and you might be confronted with suspected felony until it reaches a head." So the attorney who did that was Leclerc. I am striving to have the 3 attorneys taken down from being attorneys because they're not doing things in the best conscience of this town or for anybody. There's just no business doing what they did. And because I had the officers, I had received 3 phone calls. I don't know who the hell gave my number out, but anyhow, they gave my number out, and I had 3 phone calls. One wanted to know if my son was going to be the survivor of my estate, and I started to laugh. I said, no. Then the next call was I going to, no, did I make my appointment with the doctor? I said, I talked to my doctor. I don't even know who you are. So they gave me some screwball name, and I said, I'll make out myself. The next call was, did I have a condo, a co-op, a condominium for sale? I said, stop breaking my stones, hang up the phone. I said, there's going to be a knock on your door very shortly. So I needed to discuss that tonight because it's something that's preying on me. They have not paid for a claim they were supposed to pay for. All I kept hearing is, we're not going to pay, we're not going to pay, not going to pay, coming from the attorney's office. So they're going to be, I'm writing statewide grievance about their behavior. They should not be attorneys. They should be removed from the bench. I am not going to tolerate, and I'm going to push every inch of the way. Now, regarding Shakespeare, I don't know
Yep.
if that's on, is Shakespeare on your agenda tonight?
No, it's not.
Okay, and is,
So, Linda, the time's up.
All right, you want my 3 minutes? Just a minute, please. Okay.
Linda, I'm always very gracious to you. With all due respect, I always give everyone an extra couple seconds. Could you just wrap up, please? Thank you.
So we got with 3 minutes.
You're over your 3 minutes. If you'd like to wrap up now, I'll allow it.
But at one time, didn't we get 5, sir?
Linda, I'm going to bang the gavel and we're going to be done. Linda, you're over your time. I will allow you to wrap up right now, but that's it.
All right, and if I have to grieve you, I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else here who would like to speak who has not had the opportunity to sign up? I will give the opportunity. Seeing none, we'll call the public forum closed at 6:10, and we'll reconvene promptly at 7 p.m. right here for the council meeting. Thank you. Okay, good evening, everybody. We're going to get going tonight. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. My name is Chris Pia. I'm the chairman for the Stratford Town Council, and I'm going to call the regularly scheduled meeting for the Stratford Town Council to order for September 12, 2022 at 7 p.m. The first item on the agenda is going to be the invocation and pledge of allegiance by Councilwoman Shake.
Lord, please continue to watch over the town of Stratford. Please help the town council, our local government, state government officials, federal officials make good choices to move forward with a sense of compassion, accountability, transparency, and to do what is right for everyone here. Please make sure that our frontline workers, our essential workers are protected, that their families are also protected. Please keep watch over all of our children, and please do so with compassion in your heart for us as well. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is going to be the approval of the minutes from the regular scheduled meeting of July 11th, 2022, and the special meeting August 29th, 2022. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Mr. O'Brien, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Dancho, any discussion on? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0 with Councilors Poisson and Francesi absent. Next section on the agenda is going to be ceremonial presentations and awards. So this evening we're going to be recognizing a few individuals who have done basically great things for the town. So the first individual is Mr. John Dempsey. So as everyone can see on their agenda, it states John Dempsey, 20 years of elected service. This was something that was started some time ago in the town of Stratford for anybody who has served in elected office for greater than 20 years plus, whether it be on the town level, state level, and it's really become a really nice tradition for everybody. There's a wonderful plaque that's over there on the wall. You can see it before you leave with the names who have now reached that 20-year marker, and Mr. Dempsey's name has now been added to that. So myself and the mayor are going to come up front, say a couple words, and we'd like to present John with something. So. So I'll simply start off by saying, John, I've gotten to know you over the last 6 to 7 years, and I just want to say thank you from one volunteer to another. You know, it's a lot to give 20 years of your life to volunteer service, to helping people. No matter what your beliefs are, what you do, putting that much time and effort into something is just a testament to the individual that you are. So thank you for what you've done.
One more, John, you have to listen to me now. So we've been volunteering together for decades, literally. I was on the Board of Ed, John was on the council. We didn't always get along, or let me say this, we didn't always see eye to eye on things, but we most certainly wanted to work hard for what was best for Stratford. And not only did you yourself volunteer, but your brother volunteered, and your sons and daughters volunteered, and your wife has volunteered, so you've really made this a family affair, and that's what makes Stratford such a great community. So for all of your dedication to us and how you've guided us and shared your wisdom and your experience, we are eternally grateful. Thank you. So the next part of the agenda is also recognizing some folks that have maybe not put 20 years in, because you probably haven't even been alive for 20 years, but have done some great volunteering for the town of Stratford. And actually, it's not just the town of Stratford, it's the entire state of Connecticut and the New England coastline. And we are recognizing our salt marsh stewards. Today we have Audubon, Connecticut representatives here. Rob LaFrance, Corey, where are you? There you are. Kelly's here someplace. Is Kelly here? Hi, Kelly, come on up. And so these young people worked in our salt marsh actually planting restorative grasses. And we'd like to, they've already been recognized by U.S. Fish and Wildlife and, you know, senators and the congressmen, but we're more important than they are. So we'd like to call their names and have them come up. And then I think, is it Montserrat who's going to speak? Do you want to speak before we talk to everybody, bring everybody up? Why don't you come up and speak first?
It's all right. How far? Okay, there. Good evening. My name is Montserrat Martinez Garcia, and I was one of the salt marsh stewards who helped with the Stratford Great Meadows Marsh Salt Marsh Restoration Project. I'm also here with a few of the salt marsh stewards and crew leaders who helped with the project as well. In the spring, I was a senior getting ready to go to college, but when it came to my future, I didn't know what to do career-wise. I had thought of majoring in biochemistry and being a biochemist and working in a lab. But after working in the salt marsh and becoming a salt marsh steward, I had decided of changing my major to environmental conservation. And, oh, thank you. One of the most memorable experiences was during the first few weeks of work, where we were taking a look around the marsh to plant over more than 155,000 plants and shrubs. And it had rained the day before, so we were walking around and we would get stuck inside the marsh, and we would be walking and we would be laughing and we would end up sinking and falling. And at some point, we would have to walk on the marsh with just our socks. But because of these experiences, we became closer and now good friends and still talk to each other even after the program has ended. So furthermore, I would like to thank the town of Stratford, Audubon, Connecticut, for the opportunity that they've given us and the rest of the salt marsh stewardess. and thank the more than 150 volunteers that came to help. And lastly, I would like to thank our crew leaders, Faith, Mike, and Allison, for making this experience fun and memorable. Thank you.
So Montserrat is first, receiving our certificate, and thank you so much for all your good work. Amelis Medina. Madison Thompson Ferguson. Candace Mack. Alexander Alvarez. Chloe Atkins. Hillary Holmgren. And Noah Moon. We're going to get a picture, right? Yeah. Everybody? Okay, you guys got to... Guess who gets to be in front? And then do we want Corey to be in it? Can you get us all? Frank?
Okay, I've got you. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And let's do it again. Smile this time. 1, 2, 3.
Good?
Great job. Thanks, guys. Okay. Congrats again to everybody. Well deserved. So moving on with the rest of our agenda for this evening. Item 3.1, notification of resignation for informational purposes only for Miss Janice Capee from the Stratford Library Association. And for item 3.2, council chairman appointments for informational purposes only. I'll just give it 1 second for everybody's. Just give it 1 second. Okay. I'm going to continue on. For those who are still remaining, if we could, yep, I know a few people are leaving. Excellent. Item section 3.2. Christopher Blake is going to be reappointed to the Inland Wetlands Commission with a term that expires May 31st, 2026. And Dennis Blake is going to be reappointed as an alternate member to the Inland Wetlands Commission with a term that expires May 31st, 2026. Next item on the agenda is going to be the mayor's report. Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Chairman. As you know, yesterday was the 21st anniversary of the 9/11 attacks on our country, and so we commemorated that ceremony at the VFW. They hosted us again last year. It was very heartwarming, very difficult, but very heartwarming, and it's one of those things that you always need to remember, not want to remember, but need to remember. I have some updates to share with you from the departments regarding health. The COVID and monkeypox updates. The Stratford Health Department continue to monitor local, state, national, and global data for both COVID and monkeypox. Thankfully, monkeypox appears to have leveled off for the time being. The department will begin to offer a series of flu clinics and the new Moderna booster. The e-blasts and social media and press coverage will come out with dates and times. In addition, they will continue to promote COVID clinics sponsored through CTDPH Griffin Yellow Vans, and they will be at the Latin Festival on the 18th. In other news, the National Public Health Advisory Reaccreditation Team has scheduled their site visit. It's set for September 29th. Staff will be presenting on the department's essential plans, such as their strategic plan, community health improvement plan, performance management, and quality improvement plans. In addition, the site team visit will be assessing how well our department has maintained or improved on over 100 standards and measures. I was able to spend some time with the department going over their strategic plan, and it's really so very impressive. Not just their professionalism and their knowledge, but how they work together as a team. And frankly, under the leadership of Andrea, they have just blossomed and been so proficient, as we've seen during the COVID pandemic. The health department continues to offer blood pressure checks every second Wednesday at the Baldwin Center. The staff and their MRC volunteers staff the food pantry at Holy Name of Jesus on the first and third Tuesdays of each month. They're always looking for new volunteers, so if you know of anyone and you would like to share information to get them involved, just have them contact the health department, or we can put them in touch with you. The staff is working on a quality improvement project where scores on doors may be proposed as one way to inform consumers about hair and nail salons and how they're faring on inspections. A vigil was held on the 24th as part of International Overdose Awareness Day, activities to raise awareness, to end overdoses, and to remember those who lost their lives to substance abuse disorder, and offer support of family and friends. On August 31st, Prevention Coordinator James Olson facilitated a workshop for residents to know the signs of overdose and receive training to administer Noxicodone along with life-saving kits. The South End Community Center provided fun and safe summer camp experience for elementary-age children and leaders in training to experience for teens. The after-school childcare program is off to a great start at South End Community Center. At the Baldwin Center, seniors join across the nation to celebrate Senior Center Month. The 2022 theme is Strengthening Community Connections, and we have plenty of exciting upcoming activities that shine the light on our network to support resources. On the 22nd, the Big B is back, a play on the Big E, and offering Baldwin members great food and company made possible by the Baldwin Center's many friends and supporters. On September 27th, 1 p.m., the Baldwin Walking Club is hosting the launch of the Stratford Walks funded by the AARP Community Challenge Grant. Greg Riley was very involved with that with Tammy to get that grant for us. Thank you, Greg and Tammy. Those who wish to arrive at 1 p.m. can join a volunteer-led short walk to the Academy Hill Historic Area and back to Baldwin Center in time for the 1:30 start of the event. On October 21st, from 10 to 12, the Baldwin Center is presenting Art of Aging Senior Healthy Living Expo to provide general information about good health and preventative medicine. Thanks to health educator Walter Awasu, excuse me, Walter, if I just butchered your name, who is spearheading this event. Reiki, flexology, and chair massages are lined up, among other things. In recent events, we had the September 11th commemoration ceremony. We had a press conference on last Friday with Representative DeLauro and Senator Blumenthal regarding fire grant funds. Thank you again, Greg. We had the swearing in of Deputy Chief Jim Buck, Deputy Fire Marshal Steve Ash, Police Officer Brianna Paz. The Dystonia Awareness Month proclamation was issued on September 1st with the Nachbar family. We had the ribbon cutting at the Great Meadows Marsh Restoration on August 30th. Overdose Awareness Day we just talked about. We started the proclamation on the 26th. And then the Mayor's Summer Reading Challenge recognized 275 children who read at least 8 books this past summer. Upcoming events are Bonfire on the Beach, which is this Saturday, $20 at Short Beach, $20 to gain entry. Latin Music Festival is at Paradise Green on Sunday the 18th. Hispanic Heritage Month will be observed. We'll have a proclamation and flag raising on Friday. The Stratford Bird Festival is back, and that is September 24th, 10 to 4 at the Audubon property, and there will be tours not only on Audubon but also on the Lighthouse property. We have a household hazardous waste collection scheduled for November 12th. Kelly, did we change that date? November 12th, thank you. And the Paradise Green Farmers Market is still going on. Jean Marie was there today. Thank you. The Great Pumpkin Festival is Saturday, October 15th. And also on Saturday, October 15th, the Time of Your Life Dance Party, which is sponsored to raise funds for Bethlehem House. Catholic Charities will be selling tickets. And last but not least, October 22nd, we have a Longbrook Park cleanup. Councilwoman Shake is setting that up, and we will have more information to follow. We have some updates from economic development. On the Army engine plant, the Army has requested that the conveyance of the property be extended to mid-September. Now it's going to end up being late September, maybe October, maybe November. This seems to be the song that we sing. They are continuing to work out the details of the stewardship permit with DEEP, and so I'll give you updates as we receive them. Complete Streets Phase 1, the town received the District 3 acceptance letter for Phase 1 finally, and we are awaiting a commitment to fund letter from DOT. Engineering and planning have a site tour planned with the BSC group to check the field conditions for the Greenway Phase 2. The plan is to combine the bidding processes for Phase 1 of Complete Streets and Greenway Phase 2, which is locally funded and for which the funding has been set aside. Since both intersect at West Broad Street and Main Street for Phase 2, BSC Group has been selected. MetroCog has submitted our LOTSIP funding application to DOT. You may not have seen the videos that we've sent as of today, but announcing the Plan of Conservation Development workshops. We've publicized quite a bit, but there's a schedule for 3 workshops, September 13th, which is Tuesday from 6 to 8 at Birdseye Municipal Complex, Thursday, September 29th from 6 to 8 at Booth Memorial Park, and Thursday, October 13th, 6 to 8 at the Baldwin Center. For additional information, you can find it at planstratford.com. There have been some property purchases. PV Asset Management purchased 1.13 acres of land at 350 Lordship Boulevard in Stratford for $1.3 million, and they purchased that from Stratford Industrial Corporation. The planned storage facility is the last that have been, and hopefully the last for a good long time, to be approved by the Town Planning and Zoning Commissions for this location, and this was already in the queue before the moratorium went into effect. The Polly's Gym on Ferry Boulevard sold for $425,000 to Polestar LLC. And we have some new businesses that opened. Perez Tire on 1800 Stratford Avenue. We had a ribbon cutting on August 10th. Cops Island Oyster Shack, 638 Selby's Pond Road, which is right near Bond's Dock. And if you haven't had their lobster roll yet, you really have to go. It's awesome. Golden Crust is right next to Chipotle on East Main Street. That opened last month. JV Real Estate and Insurance, 3303 Main Street, is going to have a joint ribbon cutting on 3/29 at 3 p.m. with the House of Beauty, H-A-U-S-E, of Beauty. Bell's Shellfish, which is 681 Access Road, and Force 3 Pro Gear is located at 240 Hathaway Drive. The Shakespeare Market will continue on the first and third Sundays through the fall. And this will be the inaugural year concluding on Sunday, December 18th. It's hard to believe that's gone by so fast. There are hard copies of the Hidden Gems highlighting and promoting Stratford's 9 museums, and they'll be distributed at the Connecticut Building during this year's Big E in West Springfield. The Economic Development Office will also be distributing hot-off-the-press brochures promoting this year's Stratford Bird Festival. The Economic Development Office will be creating additional versions of Hidden Gems over the next few months. On staff news, we had the celebration and the retirement of Lieutenant James McCosey, who worked for Stratford for 25 years in the fire department. Quite outstanding. And it's sad for me in one way, but very happy in the other, to announce that Mike Downs is leaving as Chief of Staff. He is going to the his town of North Branford to be the town manager. And then the last thing on my agenda is just to announce, Chairman, the Veterans Monument Preservation Commission for Academy Hill. The nominees I recommend is Jim Connor and Bill O'Brien from the council, both veterans, to co-chair. Jim, did I ask you ahead of time? At least to get us started. Margot just told me that you can't be chair, so I'm going to have to appoint that after. Well, it was all with a good intent to have you co-chair. So the other members that I'd like to put into nomination are George Grom, who is a veteran and also serves on the Veterans Museum, Steve Evangelista, who is the commander of the VFW 9460 Post, Travis Nelson, who is also a member of the VFW 9460 Post, Ed Rosales, believe it or not, who's also a member of 9460, and Adele Hodges, who is a retired Marine colonel and the first female commander of Fort Lejeune, Camp Lejeune. And they've all agreed to be part of it. And then Tom Albert, who is the Deputy Public Works Director, has also agreed to staff it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
We'll open up for questions to the mayor from the council. Anybody?
Chris?
Mr. Can. Yes, go ahead, Greg.
Thank you, Chris. Hello, Madam Mayor. My questions are related to Center School, the DECD grant we got back in 2015. And I just saw that grant for the first time in 8 years. It has a number of restrictions on the use of the property. One is 20% affordable housing. A second one is mixed-use development, including a commercial component. And then there's a third, in particular, about the state has to provide its own written consent if the town decides to sell or lease the property. Are the current proposals being considered by the town, do they incorporate those three restrictions?
They incorporate housing, which you didn't list, which is one of them. And at this point, the proposal does not incorporate the 20% affordable, but what will happen when a development is awarded is the attorneys will work out the language for how the contracts will be implemented, and at that point, they will work out those details. And I'm not sure what you mean when you say the state has to approve.
The paragraph, I don't have it, it mentions it's called the negative clause, if you will, that the state has right, they require the right to approve the disposition of the property.
Right, I'm forgetting, is that negative clause? There's a different phrase. I'm sorry? It's when you, the user, or the the property is conveyed to, does not use the property as it was depicted in the agreement. The same thing, we had that with the Connecticut Air and Space Center in the city of Bridgeport for the use of the Curtis hangar on the airport property. And it's something similar to that, Councilman, but it's not exactly, I'm not saying the right words, but that's the intent of it. Negative pledge, thank you very much. So when you the property receiver, does not do what you say you're going to do with the property. So there's another component of that property, because you have to remember when this grant was awarded, or applied for and awarded, it included the Board of Ed building, and it also included 952 East Broadway. 952 East Broadway, as you know, is being used as the African American Museum, which is a commercial art space. And so that is the other part of the requirement that DECD asked for commercial use. And God willing, once the African American Museum moves over to the Sterling Homestead, that will also, the 952 East Broadway will remain commercial. You're welcome.
Any other questions for the mayor from the council? Mr. O'Brien.
Madam Mayor, first of all, thanks for all your great support of the 8th and 9th museums, the Fletcher Museum and the Stratford Veterans Museum. And we may soon have a 10th. We need to talk about that. You haven't heard about this yet, but can you give us an update on the Sterling Homestead?
I just rolled my eyes and said, oh goodness, I love Bill O'Brien's surprises. So we've been working with Jeffrey Fletcher, who's the executive director of the Ruby and Calvin Fletcher African American Museum. And we've also been working with the architects to set up the feasibility study, the feasibility plan for what it will cost the town to renovate the building. So at both times, you know, we have some money set aside. You've approved through the capital improvement plan money for this project in this building, because we knew that there were some deficiencies, roof, some structure deficiencies, never mind the mechanical issues. But Jeffrey at this time is also raising money because he has every intent, or has committed to us, that he is going to contribute to the refurbishment and the renovations of this building. So we are close to being able to present something to the council and then to the appropriate building committees after. But right now, Silver Petrocelli is almost to the point where they are ready to present that document to us. You're welcome.
Any other questions for the mayor?
Now, what's your surprise?
Any other questions for the mayor? No? Okay. We'll move on. Town Attorney's report. Mr. Town Attorney Hodgson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no report this evening. I'll give that report in October. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on, under ordinances and under resolutions 6.2. So I'll entertain a motion for item 6.2.1.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Dancho.
I motion to approve item 6.2.1, a resolution regarding a SWCAA grant to support outreach and engagement with older Stratford residents.
Motion to approve by Councilwoman Dancho. I have a second by Councilwoman Sutton. Any discussion on this? Again, for all the resolutions and grants, those are provided. And Mr. Riley, thank you for continuing to, Mr. Riley and Tammy, everybody, continue to bring forth great grants every month. It's really a great team effort, so we appreciate it up here. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Next item on the agenda is item 6.2.2. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Dancho.
I motion to accept or approve item 6.2.2, a resolution regarding a MetroCog grant to support brownfields cleanup at 540 Longbrook Avenue, the site of the former contract plating company.
Okay,
I'll second.
Motion by Councilwoman Dancho. I have a second by Councilwoman Shake. Any discussion on this? No. Thank you, Mary Dean and Economic Development, for getting this to us. Seeing no discussion, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Next item on the agenda is item 6.2.3. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Sutton.
I'd like to make a motion to approve item 6.2.3, a resolution regarding the Hub Connecticut Local Prevention Council grant to support the Stratford Partnership for Youth and Family Services to build local capacity for implementing substance use misuse prevention strategies.
Okay, I have a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Sutton. I have a second by Councilwoman Dancho, and open it up for discussion. Is there any discussion on this grant? Excuse me, on this resolution? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Next item on the agenda is going to be item 6.2.4. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. Chairman, I motion to
Ms. Dancho.
approve item 6.2.4, a resolution regarding State of Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development grant funding to support brownfields cleanup at 540 Longbrook Avenue, the site formerly occupied by contract plating.
Okay, I have a motion to approve by Councilwoman Dancho.
No, second.
I have a second by Mr. Councilman O'Brien. Any discussion on this item?
Mr. Chairman,
Who was that? I'm sorry, Ms. Shake, go ahead.
thank you. I just want to say thank you to, if it's Greg Riley or Mary Dean, for the amount of money that will be coming in for the contract plating at Longbrook, so thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? Mr. Can.
Thank you, Chris. A question for whoever's closest. Would the grant, there's two grants described here, so I'll refer to both of them. Do they require there to be a buyer for the property?
So your question on 6.2.4 is there a buyer being required?
Yes.
Mr. Timniak or from the administration? Or Mary? Mary, if you'd like to come up to the mic to answer Mr. Kant's question.
Good evening, everyone. So the first resolution that was passed, that was 6.2.3, does not require a buyer. It is to cover, it's a grant that Patrick Carlton found for us and Greg Riley's been working on to cover some open areas that need to be capped. So there is no requirement there. The second one is, yes, looking at an end use, and they want to see it, an end use for it. And we've had conversations with them, and they've decided that they are comfortable with us moving forward if the council approves for this $973,000 and the additional supplemental $500,000.
Does that answer your question, Greg? You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman?
Ms. Shake.
Sorry, I'm just going to ask a follow-up question. In the discussion for what that property in the future would possibly be, could you share with us some of the suggestions that came up in the discussion?
Well, in the, I don't know if it's in the application, they have some criteria. So light industrial, energy saving, there can be no residential because of the property is too contaminated to do that. So they've kept it pretty wide open as to what we can do. It really falls within the parameters of the cleanup.
Any other discussion on this item?
Thank you.
Seeing none, thank you, Mary. Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Next item on the agenda is going to be item 6.2.5. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Mr. O'Brien.
Yes, I move that the resolution regarding a Connecticut Department of Public Health per capita grant and aid for full-time health departments.
Okay, motion has been made by Councilman O'Brien. Do I have a second? Motion to approve by Councilman O'Brien. Do I have a second? Second by Councilwoman Sutton. Any discussion on this one? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Next item on the agenda is going to be item 6.2.6. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make it a
Mr. Connor.
resolution to approve 6.2.6.
Okay, motion by Mr. Connor to approve 6.2.6.
I'll second.
I have a second by Mr. O'Brien. Any discussion?
I'd like to make an amendment for this, make a motion for amendment.
Motion to amend, and can you just state the amendment?
Yeah, be it resolved, the Town Council of the Town of Stratford, that concurrent with the funding for the fiscal year 22-23 capital improvement and equipment plan, the fiscal year 23-27 capital improvement and equipment plan has been approved and adopted.
Motion to motion to amend by Councilman Connor. Do I have a second? Seconded by Mr. O'Brien. Any discussion? Mr. Leclerc, can you just for the council's understanding, it was a tweak of words. Can you just explain it, please?
Yeah, it's just some wordmanship in order to satisfy any concerns the auditors may have and make it clear what was approved and what we have approved. And we go forward with low SIP funding, so there are no issues.
Thank you. So it's just an auditor suggestion for
yes, sir.
Clarification. Thank you, sir. Any discussion on the amendment only? No? Call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed, motion passes 8-0. Back to the original motion as amended. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed, motion passes 8-0. Next item is going to be under new business. I'll entertain a motion for item 7.1.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Sutton.
I'd like to move item 7.1A.
Motion to approve item 7.1A by Councilwoman Sutton. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilwoman Dancho. Do I have any discussion on this? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. I'll entertain a motion for 7.1B.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Sutton.
I'd like to move item 7.1B.
Motion to approve item 7.1B by Councilwoman Sutton. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilwoman Dancho. Any discussion on the item? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Next item is going to be 7.1C. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Sutton.
I'd like to move item 7.1C.
Motion to approve item 7.1C by Councilwoman Sutton. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Councilwoman Dancho, thank you. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Last item is going to be 7.1D. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Sutton.
I'd like to move item 7.1D.
Motion to approve item 7.1D by Councilwoman Sutton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Rice. Thank you. Any discussion on the item? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Next item on the agenda is going to be item 7.2. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion for approval.
Motion to approve item 7.2 by Councilman Connor. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman O'Brien. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll call that for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Next item on the agenda is going to be for item 7.3, the sale of 11 Old South Avenue. Executive session is being requested. I will ask for a motion to go into executive session. I'd ask whoever makes the motion to list all the councilors as well as the mayor and her staff and the town attorneys by name.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make
Mr.
a
Connor.
motion. Okay. The people we request is all of the council, the mayor, Mr. Timniak, I can't forget his name, he's left already, Mike Downs, all of the lawyers, Mr. Hodson, Mr. Clerk, Mr. Floric,
And Mr. Jackson.
and Mr. Jackson. Sorry, Bruce, didn't see you there. And the finance director.
Dawn Sabo. Okay. Motion.
And the motion should note that the reason for the executive session is discussion of the sale of this property in public may affect the price of the property.
Thank you, Mr. Town Attorney.
The reason for this request is the public it will affect the price of the property if the public's involved.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Do I have a second to the motion? I have a second by Councilman O'Brien. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Chair votes aye. 8-0. We're going into executive session. Okay, everybody, we're going to start the meeting again. I need a motion to come out of executive session.
Motion to come out of executive session.
No, motion's been made by Councilman Dancho. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Rice. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Chair votes aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 8-0. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a
Ms.
motion.
Sutton.
I'd like to move that 11 South Avenue, as per executive session requested, get moved to 824 for planning for 824, as well as then back to the council for discussion and public forum.
Mr. Town Attorney, does that satisfy what we need?
Yeah, perhaps you should suggest in the motion that the town attorney's office be authorized to proceed regarding the listing of the property as discussed in executive session, as well as refer the matter for 824 review, followed by the 7163 public hearing and notice as required.
Ms. Sutton, if you wouldn't mind just restating that.
She could just adopt what I just said. She could just say so moved.
So moved.
Okay. Wonderful. Great job, Ms. Sutton.
Could you repeat that?
Do I have a second to the motion? I have a second by Mr. O'Brien. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Next item on the agenda is going to be under appointments. We have 7.4.1. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Dancho.
I motion to approve that Rita Sacaccia of Cut Spring Road be and is hereby appointed to the Beautification Committee of the Stratford Town Council to the resigned seat of Rita Sacaccia with a term that runs concurrent with the Town Council term expiring December 2023.
Motion by Councilman Dancho. Do I have a second? Jean Marie got the second. I'm calling her on it. Jean Marie Sutton on the second. Do I have any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Next, under confirmation of appointments, I will enter, excuse me, for, 1 second. Is that where we need to do it?
Well, yeah, after 7.5.2, somebody has to amend.
Okay. Okay, so next item on the agenda is going to be item 7.5.1. I will entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Sutton.
I'd like to move that the mayor's, to approve that the mayor's appointment of Harold Watson as the zoning commission representative to the housing partnership be and is hereby confirmed.
Motion has been made by Councilwoman Sutton. Do I have a second? Seconded by Mr. O'Brien. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Item 7.5.2, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Sutton.
I'd like to make a motion that to approve the mayor's appointment of Brian O'Connor as the planning commission representative to the housing partnership be and is hereby confirmed.
Motion by Councilwoman Sutton. Do I have a second? Seconded by Mr. O'Brien. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Before the adjournment, I'm going to ask for a motion to amend to add an item to the agenda for the approval of the mayor's stated monument committee names before. We need to actually technically vote on them as mayoral appointments, just like we did with Mr. Watson and Mr. O'Connor. So if someone would like to make a motion to amend, I have the names that the mayor read in before.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Dancho.
I motion to amend the agenda to add the item for the Monument Committee.
Can I read them? Oh, I didn't know. You're right. No, you were right. If you want to just state, Laura, since you have the names.
So the appointments to the Veterans Monument Preservation Commission for Academy Hill are to be Jim Connor, Bill O'Brien, George Grom, Steve Evangelista, Travis Nelson, Ed Rosales, Adele Hodges, retired colonel, and DWP Tim Albert. Tom. That's an O, sorry.
So motion's been made.
I'll second.
Second by Councilwoman Shake. Thank you. Any discussion? All right, this is to add it to the agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Back to now to the amended item that has been added. Any further discussion on it? Seeing none,
Mr. Chairman, now that it's been added to the agenda, you need someone to move second.
I'll
discuss,
need a
and vote,
motion
please.
to move the item that's been added to the agenda.
I motion to move the item that has been added to the agenda.
Motion
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Shake. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion passes 8-0. Lastly, before we adjourn, I just want to take a quick second, and I think we'll all agree. I want to thank Mr. Mike Downs for his wonderful service to the town. I know this has kind of become like a second home to you, Mike. We appreciate everything, your friendship, your leadership, and I don't think anybody's going to ever wear a three-piece suit as well as you have. So I personally, and on behalf of the whole council, we all just want to thank you for everything you've done for our town. And we know North Branford's going to be in good hands, so best of luck to you and your family. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Connor, seconded by Mr. O'Brien. Any discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Chair votes aye. Motion passes 8-0. Thank you all.